Hey, everybody, thanks for watching this week's episode. We want to promote where you can see us. For tickets, go to joegattoofficial.com to see all my tour dates. And for Steve's, go to punchup.live/Steve-Byrne. That's Byrne. He makes it super easy to find him. And now, on to the episode.
There was a problem, yo, I saw. Word to your mother.
Okay. All right, here we go. We are doing a virtual Two Cool Moms. Stevie, buckle up, because here we go.
Hey.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for another episode of Two Cool Moms. I am your host, Joe Gatto, along with, via Zoom, my friend.
Steve Byrne.
Steve Byrne, that's you. Yes,
Steve Byrne, that's me,
is
yeah.
here. Thank you so much for
Say
joining
my
us.
own name, yeah.
Everybody, I love that. I appreciate you guys. Stevie, I appreciate you taking some time to make this happen. I know we couldn't get together in the same room. We don't like to do this because we hate the distance between us.
That's right. Yearning for each other, but I am in Pittsburgh right now at the Mario Lemieux Fantasy Camp. And it's a wonderful, the Mario Lemieux Foundation, obviously they raise money for cancer. They do these things called Austin's Playroom, which are, rooms for children that are dealing with cancer. So I think they have 7 or 8 different locations. A lot of them are primarily in Pittsburgh, but anyways, a lot of money funded towards cancer research, et cetera, et cetera. So they have a fantasy camp where normal guys, it's like pros versus Joes, normal guys like me get to come and you get to skate with famous alumni, Hall of Famers. And it's one of the greatest, coolest experiences I've ever had in my life. And the very first one I did, Mario Lemieux was still skating, and I got to skate a shift with Lemieux, and I skated a shift against Lemieux, and I came back and I said, "This is the greatest day of my life." And just like, better than our wedding? I'm like, and I looked her in the eye, and go, "Yeah,
absolutely,
better than our wedding."
The only thing that could have made our wedding better was if Mario Lemieux walked you down the aisle.
That's right, yeah.
Down the aisle to me.
If she walked me down to marry Mario, yeah, and I mean, the guy is just hockey royalty.
Yeah,
and
it's insane.
I
mean, I even know him, which means he's a somebody. I know the name.
He's no
Lemieux.
Pete Weber.
Most people know. Yes, Lemieux. Most people do not know is French.
French Canadian. Yes.
Yeah. So there you go. There's that little tidbit for you, for all our French listeners. Grazie. Yeah. So I wanted to say, so do you when you're on the ice and you're skating, after you get off the ice, how long do you hurt? Like, how sore are you?
Okay, so we get to play in the arena, which you've played, the PPG arena.
Well, let's be clear. I've played as a comedy show on the stage there. I haven't played hockey.
That's right. You were not a New York Islander or Ranger or Sabre, New York State, but the whole thing takes place in there. So we skate where the Penguins play, and they have this Casamigos lounge, and that's where we eat our meals. Mm-hmm. So we finish skating. We're going to go eat lunch. And I pull up to the bar and they have all these mango smoothies, like fresh whipped, nice smoothies. And I go to put my foot on the little step up that's maybe 4 inches up at the bar. And as I put my foot, I went, ah. And 2 of the campers heard me like, "Byrne, are you okay?" I'm like, and they look, they're like, "Dude, it's like 3 inches. Like, what are you complaining about?" But it's just a fun experience. And it's the closest like I'll ever feel to like being a professional athlete. They have equipment managers. You're decked out in jerseys. You're playing the game. Like your face is up on the board. They do the like things where you like go like this and you look to the camera.
So fun.
So you film all this stuff and you literally feel like a pro athlete. And your whole day is regimented around playing, practicing games. And every team has 2 pros with them. So we have Max Talbot and Tyler Kennedy, former Penguins. Mm-hmm. And our team is coached by Kevin Stevens, a Hall of Famer, and Pierre LaRouche, who is a former New York Ranger legend. And he played for the Pens for a while too. But it's just amazing. And the camaraderie you get from hanging out with all these
so fun.
Grown men from all over in Canada and stuff. It's cool.
I had a similar experience when you're talking about the face being like on the Jumbotron in front of the huge arena. I took my kids bowling yesterday, and in the bowling alley had a new feature where you could take a picture and it would like animate you on a thing when it was your turn.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I had me and my kids' faces up on the Bowlerama.
There you go. And just curious, what did you bowl?
I got the elbow was in rough shape last night. I only hit like 140. That was rough last night.
That's a bad day for you.
It's a bad day, yeah, yeah. But we had fun. The kids were great. My daughter got very frustrated, and my son was using the ramp, and he was doing like the 1, 2, 3 before he was like every time. He
Oh,
was
just
very
where it
yeah, the
rolls
little thing
down
where we
and
roll it down. Yeah, we didn't do the bumpers, but we did the ramp. But
and
it was fun.
the 15 seconds to see like you're just
Where's it
waiting for
gonna
it to like
go?
slow
And
roll.
at
You're
the
like,
last minute, it seems like there's an earthquake, and it just the whole place shifts, and it just goes right to the gutter. Like it's dead on, then boom, right to the gutter. The poor
it's
kid.
the
But
most it's the most gratifying strike because it'll topple one
yep,
by one, and
yep.
then it's just the one twirling like
There's
that, and
no
as it goes
speed
down,
to
you're
it.
like,
There's no speed to
hey.
the ball. You might as well like roll a tennis ball at it. But yeah, we had fun. So how long? It's a five. How many days is this thing?
5 days. So
Wow,
today is like the playoff round, and then tomorrow's the championship round. We're going to see how we do. We're 2-0 so far. We
nice.
have a ringer on our team, this
Okay.
guy Yuri, who is just like skating through everybody. But then you have guys like Pierre Turgeon, who's, again, another like legend in the game and former Buffalo Sabre. And I mean, the guy's got to be in his late 50s, and he's just serpentining through
Oh,
everybody, and they
crazy.
still have these skills. Bernie Nichols is on our team, former LA King legend, another Hall of Famer, and he's on our team. And
Cousin to Frankie Quarters. Yeah. Most people don't know that. He was on the Blackhawks, I believe. Frankie Quarters.
I'm glad you knew the Blackhawks.
Yeah, yeah. That was my team in NHL when I used to play on PlayStation. That's the only reason I know them.
Dude, I got to tell you, so one story, okay? So we all go out to lunch or dinner last night. Again, everything is first class, right? They take you to
Amazing.
a fancy steakhouse. Mike Young, another great comedian out of the Comedy Store, is with me. So Mike and I sit in a booth, and there's this great guy named it's like Andrew Koo. He's the only other Asian here. And so
Are
of
you guys on
course
the
I'm
same
like,
team or no?
no, we're not on the same team.
Okay, good.
But I was like, oh, another Asian. And then he and his mom sat down with us. So
He
it's
brought his mother.
he brought his mom to camp, and I got to learn the story. They came over from Shanghai, and he was like 9, and they moved to Saskatchewan, I think, and
Really?
they turned on the TV. They had no idea what hockey was coming from Shanghai, and she said, "Who do you like?" He said, "I'll take the white team." She's like, "I'll take the green team," and that's how they got into hockey. So they would just look and watch it, and then
So
years later, his favorite player was Mario Lemieux. He ends up playing at the camp and playing with Lemieux. Anyways, we're sitting at the table. There's a guy doing magic, and then he's like, and he was great. And he's like, I do some mentalist stuff too. And Mike Young's like, oh, can you do one? And the guy goes, what would you say if I had a credit card with your name on it? And Mike's like, oh my God, that'd be amazing. And so he goes, what's your name? He goes, Mike Young. He goes, Mike Young, I'm going to give you a credit card with your name on it. So he gives the credit card to Mike Young. It says your name. Okay. Mike doesn't have his readers. So he's going, how the fuck did you do that? Like, how did you? I'm like, Mike, it says your name. He's like, I know it says your name. He goes, so if it said Steve Byrne, like, how would you do that? How would I go? It says your name. He goes, I know it says mine. It was like literally who's on first,
oh,
right?
yeah.
And he didn't admit he couldn't read it. And he's like, so if it was like her name, I'm like, Mike, it literally says your name. He goes, I know, Steve. And so I fucking like I go, it says Your name. He goes, oh shit. And so I'm sitting there and it's me, Keith Koo, Mrs. Koo, and I go, well, like you're sitting with 3 Asians, like this white boy's so stupid. He dumb. He a dumb white boy. So Mrs. Koo, after that, we're going to the ring today. And I go, Mrs. Koo, how are you? I go, look on what she goes, oh, stupid white boy.
Amazing. Oh,
So
you gotta
funny.
get him a t-shirt that says your name on it.
I should change his jersey to it.
Your
I
name.
couldn't believe he
Oh,
wouldn't get over it. It was unbelievable.
that's so funny. Did you played hockey growing up? When was the first time you started playing like on a team though? Was it high school?
6 years old. Well, five
Oh,
years
really?
old. My father played, so we'd go to the rink and he'd just hold
That's
his
right.
jersey and he'd pull me around. And then 6, I started. That was my first season, and 7 was the first time I felt like, oh, I can skate now, and I
Got it.
think I got the hang of this. And I played all through high school. I played on 2 different teams, travel, high school, and I was fortunate enough to grow up during Lemieux's peak era.
Yeah, yeah.
So 91, 92, I was a junior and senior, and they won the cup back to back in those
Amazing.
years. And it was so great to be in the city. And again, to just to just know that like he knows who I am. And you do this contract signing and you sit down with him at the table and you sign a contract with each other and you talk for a second. It was like
That's so
it's
cool.
still surreal. It's still
Yeah.
surreal. Like
Well, that's
I
why you do that big charity event. We do that every year, right? You do for the Lemieux
yes,
Foundation. You do that. You're doing it again this year, yeah.
we're doing it this year, Friday, July 18th.
Yeah. Mark your
You
calendars, friends. Save the dates.
save the dates,
I'll
save
be
the
there.
date.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, July 18th. We're doing the Comedy Jam. As you know, it's a comedy show where comedians come out. We do 10 minutes of material and we sing any song we want with a live band. It becomes a comedy concert. And this year it's you. Um, you have a few friends coming.
Yeah.
Q is joining.
Amazing.
Murray's joining.
Amazing.
Frankie Quiones, who's one of my favorites. Lace Larrabee, and Josh Adam Myers in the Comedy Jam band. So it's
Perfect.
it's going to
It's
be
going to
a
be
killer lineup.
it's always so much fun. I'm really excited. So yeah,
Yeah,
come on,
and
come
I've
on.
been asked about it quite a bit since I've been here. People are like, you
Well,
doing it again? You
they're
doing it
looking
again?
for the Scottoli's people. You raise a lot of money for this
That's
thing,
right.
you
That's
know.
right. Yeah.
They're the golden goose. Make sure nobody checks them too hard.
That's right.
I love that, dude. Good, good. Well, you
Um,
look well. You got a good haircut.
I got a good little haircut.
You
Yeah,
did. You
we're
you
doing
got
it.
sniced up for the Lemieux, just in
Yeah.
case, you know.
I hit a point, Joe, where I cannot, I've always been able to lose weight. So 2 weeks before this, I know I can put on my sauna suit, I'll jump my rope, and then I'll eat right and I'll trim it down. This is the first time in my life I eat right, I put on the sauna suit, I'm hydrating, and I just hit a wall for some reason. I cannot get below 190. It's never happened in my life.
Really?
This is the
Oh
first, yeah,
wow.
I want to come in at like 180, and for some reason I couldn't drop the weight. I don't know what
Yeah.
it was.
That's what happens when you turn 55. All those
You think?
things when you're in your early 60s, all these things shut down on
Wow. We went up. We went up.
you.
Okay.
I'm kidding. So you hit the 50 and you can't drop onto the 180. Tough. 190, 190 you're at? Okay.
Yeah.
That's my goal weight. So we're on different pages there, pal.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not happy. I'm not
But I'm
happy.
tan
Like,
right now. I went
let's
away. I'm
see.
tan. I got that always makes me look more trim. I got a nice
You look
brown going to
fantastic.
me.
You
Thank
look
you.
fantastic the last few years, though. You lost quite a few
Yep.
lbs.
Yeah, I did drop some lbs. Maybe I don't know. I think the tanner I get, the fatter I can be, though. So I've been really hitting the donuts pretty hard now. It's like when you wear black, everybody's like, "Oh, you look so good." Yeah, I trimmed down. No, I put on an XL black T-shirt, and that's my diet.
Or you just hang out with fat people, right?
That's what I do. I mean, I was the fat guy that everybody hung out with. We used to have this thing, me and the boys. We had this joke of who was number two, who was the second fattest. So it didn't matter who first fattest, and it was the number two spot would always fluctuate between us. For a while, Sal held number one for the longest. Sal was the reigning champion, and me and Q would be fighting for the number two spot. So like when we were on the road, I'd be like, "Hey, you want to you want a donut?" Like I would feed him to fatten him up or whatever. It'd be really funny.
But Murray's always been skinny, right?
He was always a skinny kid. Yeah.
Always skinny, but then he got like jacked.
No, he got
He got
jacked a little
like,
bit. He chubbed up a little when he got hitched. He got a little bit of round face. He got a little chunk of
yeah,
dunk, and then because he was like you, he could always drop weight, and then he started
yeah.
working at it and working out with him and his wife, and they put the gym in the house to really hit it home, and he has to work at it now.
It's always weird though when you're like, I mean, Murray, I love him, great guy, but he's like a seven, right? He's like a seven. But so even if you work out and you're shredded, like if you're Chris Hemsworth and you're like a nine and then you get jacked, you're like a 10, right? But
Yeah,
if you're seven and you get like Murray got in great shape,
yeah.
he's still a seven. You know what I mean? Like it's just
Some
like,
some people, the jack. I wouldn't know. I always had this joke that I was gonna do, and I never got to do it because I didn't have the discipline. But I was like in the off season, in between seasons, I was gonna get
Joe, in
ripped.
the off season. Dude, you're not Mahomes. Relax.
We filmed that way. I used to film like 9 months out of the year. Like had no life. I was exhausted, consumed by this thing, right? 9, 10 months
Yeah.
out of the year. So I was like,
Right.
oh, you know what? I'm gonna get jacked. I'm gonna get abs and everything. And I even talked to the production about it. I was like, listen, I think it's between season 6 and 7. I was like, listen, I'm gonna get jacked. And
For
I'm
the
going to come
funnies though,
back and
for
I'm going
like
to take my
funnies
for
to
the
be
funnies.
like,
I'm going to take my shirt off for the first challenge. I'm going to try not to see them in the off season, or as you would say, the downtime, and I'll try to avoid them as best I could.
right,
And I was like 3 days in, I was like, it's not worth the joke.
fuck it. Yeah.
I was eating donuts. I was like, forget it. Donuts
But
are
you could, don't you think you could?
well, I'm doing this thing now that I'm trying to get a little bit more trim. I started picking up some of these vitamins and things like I've never
Yep.
done, like these probiotic-y kind of things for gut health. because I think that's part of my issue is that all my fat's in my belly, and I'm trying to see what I
Right.
could do there. So I've been doing some of that stuff, and I have to say I feel better. I don't necessarily look any better yet, but I'm starting to feel better, and I
You
think
look
that
great. What are you
always
talking about?
comes up. Well, I mean, you see me in the square. We're on Zoom right now, buddy. Anybody looks good. You don't have
Well,
your glasses on, and I'm 2x4 in your window, right? Anybody could crush this look.
yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't look bad. I just, I feel like I'm starting to feel better. And when I feel better, I feel like my body loses the weight a little more.
Right, right. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, well, I got the chubby cheeks. I
yeah,
gotta
well, it's okay.
get
You
my
got,
cheekbones back.
but you're out there, you're hoofing it on the ice, as they say.
I'm hoofing. I'm
You
playing
just,
two games a day. I'm sweating my I bought a travel scale for the first time in my
oh,
life.
really?
So I bring this travel scale
But
and
you bought a
like
luggage one by accident, so you just hang yourself on on the
I
railing. You're like, oh.
just give myself a wedgie. I'm like, can you send it made up? I'm stuck. Um, yeah, no, I finally bought a travel scale and it fits in your travel, your
Yeah.
carry on and it's pretty accurate. It's pretty darn good. And it's not giving me the results I want. So
It's
I'm a
broken.
little
It's
angry
clearly
with it.
broken, buddy. It's broken.
Yeah, now I know it's broken. Yeah, it has to be, right? I'm gonna chuck it off this floor. But should we get into this?
Let's get into it,
Should we
buddy. Let's solve some
I
problems.
have some questions here. This is coming from Debbie, okay? Debbie says, I'm 56 and my significant other is 70. We've been together for 14 years. We're not married by choice. I don't know what to call him. Boyfriend sounds strange at our age. Am I overthinking? What should I call my person? Thanks, moms.
Okay. Boyfriend does sound strange, but the way that you read that question is even more strange because you said we're not married by choice. It sounded like she was forced into a marriage to me when you said that. They're not married by her choosing, she means, right? They decided they don't want to get married. I thought you meant she had to marry him by like gunpoint. Like
Well,
you're
she's
gonna
not
be my wife.
Indian. Yeah. Um,
So what do
but
you
yeah,
call
it
it? Oh
says
yeah, I
we've
see
been together.
boyfriend, a 70-year-old boyfriend. Yeah.
We've
That's
been to, she's 56, so he's 14 years older than it. And
yeah.
we've been together for 14 years and are not married by choice.
Yep, yep. So they just wanted to be. So that was my mom. So my mom would just date. She always said, "I had my husband, I had my family. I don't need another husband." So she wouldn't be
Right,
married, but she had boyfriends. She always called them her man. She said, this is my man. When she would
right.
introduce people around, she wouldn't want to say friend. She didn't want to say partner. She didn't want to say anything like that. And she would just say my man,
Right.
because that just brings in that you're together. So I would recommend that. I remember my mom, everybody wanted to marry my mom though. All the guys were trying to lock it down. And she's like, let this
Yeah.
birdie fly. I was locked in this cage for 20 something, 28 years or whatever. It's time for me to go, baby, go. My mom was just flying around
Yeah.
town being a hot mom. So she didn't, she was a silver fox at 50. She became a 54, I think she was when she became a widow. So she still had a lot of life left in her. So
Right. Of course. Yeah.
she was dating all these guys and they were always trying to lock her up, man. And I remember she was always like, my mom was like a playette at 54 years old. It was so weird because me and my mom were both in the dating scene. I'd be dating, she'd be dating,
Yeah.
we'd connect about that stuff because I was in my late 20s, early 30s, so it was really interesting to see, to have that perspective. But I would definitely recommend, my man. This is my man. This is.
But if they are married, right? I mean,
They aren't married, she said. They're not married by choice. Meaning they don't want to get married. They both have been, they're old enough. They've already been husbands and wives to other people.
and are not
You
married
know,
by choice. Okay. I
yeah.
was
My
thinking it
mom,
said,
my mom's stance on that was, you get married to have a family. And she was like, I already had my family. I already had my husband. And she also didn't want to have to deal with, she wanted to get buried with my father. So she didn't want to have to
right,
deal
right.
with that whole thing
She
because
always
they
knew.
bought the double plot. She was already in. She already spent the shot all. So she was like, I'm not going to double dip on this thing. So
A little uncomfortable with the pearly gates when,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
it's like, hey, husband, this is my man.
Well, it's still great though that she because I always think that boy that's what a weird conundrum that is, but that she still respected your father, in that aftermath of never
Yeah.
going there again.
Yeah,
Uh,
she would always call out his name during sex, which I thought was very nice of her. No matter what
Jesus,
the guy's
Joe.
name was, she was yelling Joe. It was very nice of her, very respectful, very respectful of my mother. It was funny. We used to laugh because a bunch of our boyfriends were named Joe.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was just out of convenience. You didn't want to call somebody the wrong name.
Right.
Not even doing that just because she was older. You like to be like, hey, Joe, what time you picking me up? That would be okay to say if she was
Is
like
it cool
saying the
that
wrong name.
isn't it cool though that she was saying your name during sex though?
Yeah, that was my favorite part, to be honest.
You're playing Nintendo at 11:30, like, Mom,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, mom. Yeah, mom.
I
Mom. Like the first one, you think she's just calling you. Like, yeah, mom, what do you need?
like Dr. Xavier. I feel her calling me in the universe somewhere.
The boys and I, because I used to live in my mom's basement, we had one of our first scripts. And we actually filmed the scene for a pilot that never made anything. It was the end of it is I have the headphones on in my mom's basement and I'm playing video games as you hear just sex sounds coming through the vents.
Oh no. No, no, no. Usually it's the other way around, right?
Yeah, I know you worry about
It's like,
that, but
Joe, turn that down. Jesus Christ, rewind the VHS.
if we ever brought dates home at the same time, the house would be a rocking. Don't come a knocking, Stevie. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my
Uh,
God.
but yeah, it's good. Well,
Gatorade
so
mom?
I would say man. I would say man. That's my
Yeah, okay.
answer. Final answer. Let's
There we
move on,
go.
please.
That's it. Yeah. This is coming to us from Sherry. Why do men why do men use urinals instead of stalls when in public? They don't have urinals at home. I always wondered why. Thanks, moms.
I this
Sherry,
I was literally this is interesting. I mean, you go you take this one first. I have a perspective though.
well, it's not it comes down to money, right? It's brass tacks. If I put a toilet down and I got to throw the stanchions up and the wallet off and then the door, it's like you just like quadrupled your costs as opposed to just all those stalls. And sometimes you have stalls without the little, even like the little
Yep.
thing, you know? So
The blocker. Yeah.
the blocker, yeah. My thing is anytime you and your buddy go at the same time and you have the blockers and your buddy goes, I always wait for my buddy to go first and I tap him, I'm like, can you move over, please? Like, come on, man. But that's one of my dumb favorite jokes to do.
I kissed you once when you were peeing. Remember I came in and I kissed
You
the back of your neck? It's one of my favorite jokes to do. I let you go in for a minute.
But
If you
you
had the
feel a hot
choice,
breath and then a
I think I even whispered, "How's it going?" The urinal. Would you have a urinal at home though, if you could?
oh, no, I just
No.
pee in the toilet and then yeah.
Yeah. I think the urinal really for the thing about the urinal that it does versus the stall is speed. It's turnover, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
if you got people going through quick, I mean, I find urinals actually kind of really disgusting. Have you ever like stepped up to a urinal? It's always damp on the floor, but like, and you notice your
Yeah.
shoes untied. That is one of the worst
Yeah, yeah,
things
yeah,
in
yeah,
the
yeah.
world. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. I hate that, but I think the urinal is just for convenience of time. I think it got built. You used to go to some of these dive bars. I'm sure you did in college. They just have a trow. Do you ever have those? Where
That's
was
the
that's
worst.
disgusting. It's just
So
a
disgusting.
pea trow where
Yeah,
people just
just
line up, wangs out. There's no dividers. Everybody's all wasted. They're peeing on each other. It's disgusting. Because that was my worst part about like not drinking. I would always walk into those situations sober.
yeah.
Okay. And there would be guys back there wasted, peeing from 6 feet back, thinking they're hitting it. I'm like, some guys are too close.
The only redeeming thing about a trough is when you're there and you get you're peeing 10, 11 p.m. because then you're melting ice.
Yeah,
And that was kind
that's
of
fun.
fun.
It's a video
It's kind
game.
of fun to see like that ice cube slowly just melt from your body heat and I don't know, that
Yep.
was my only thing
Sometimes
that
the
I enjoyed
urinal,
about it.
that's why I peed in drinks at the bar. The urinal, sometimes they put that little bee. There's like a bee. Do you
Yeah,
ever
yeah,
see
yeah.
those? There's like a little bee that you could like a target. It doesn't move, it doesn't do
Now
anything.
they
It's
have
just like,
targets on some of them. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Or
yeah.
then you get the cool bar that has like the big wraparound picture of like 15 hot girls looking down like
Yeah, yeah,
giggling and laughing.
laughing.
It's like,
Yes,
all
those are
right, I
funny.
get it.
Those are
Yeah.
funny. Yeah. Yeah. So I think the urinal just is out of convenience and speed in public. But I would if I go into a stall and pee a lot too. If there
You'll
is a
take a dump
stall.
in a stall for the
I
funnies.
take a dump in a urinal, which is really weird.
That's what I meant in the urinal for the funnies.
I
Yeah.
mean, and it is what it is. Judge if you want, but a bathroom's a
You gotta go,
bathroom.
you gotta go.
It's true.
I knew this girl I had dated. She had called me like a year after I dated her, and she's like, I gotta talk to you. And I thought, oh, like, is this something
Yeah.
like what's wrong? She's like, always appreciated that you've been a friend since we broke up, but I think I want to break up with somebody. And I'm like, well, okay. And she's like, but is this a dumb reason to break up with somebody? I said, well, what is it? She said, well, he pees sitting down.
Uh,
And I was like, yeah, 100%. I mean, unless he's avoiding you. Like, I never understood that. I know it's a handful of guys that do that out there, but I don't understand peeing sitting down.
Listen, a 3 a.m. pee, if I'm stumbling and bumbling to the bathroom, I'll sit down.
Yeah,
And I'll tell you
even
why.
still.
Yeah, this is the reason. This is the reason why I will. I'm lazy. I like to sit. Also, I'm like sleepy eyed. I got the aim and everything. It takes away a lot out of the equation. I'll sit there, but it's, I don't do it on the regular. I mean, people that do it on the regular as a choice, it seems a little odd to me. Yeah.
Yeah, and are you do you do the nighttime pee? Getting older?
Yeah, I'm peeing all the time. I wake up and pee all the time.
Do you really?
Yeah, I poop standing up. That's a choice. Most people find that pretty interesting. I mean, I do a two, I call it a 2-footer. Just stand up there. There.
Timber.
Yeah, I think it's more fun. No, yeah, I've been doing that for a while though. I just I don't sleep much though. I'm 5 hours,
That's
6 hours,
right. Yeah.
so it's kind of a little nappy thing.
Not me.
So,
I'm a little crypt keeper. I go down for the count and that's it. So
and then you wake up and you pee for 45 minutes.
I do the Austin Powers. Yeah,
Yep.
I'm at it. Well, Sherry, I think for me at least, I think it's Joe says turn and burn. I say it's a financial issue.
Yeah.
So probably both of those.
Yeah.
All right, this is coming to us from Bobby. Bobby says, my girlfriend hasn't left her basement apartment since Thanksgiving 2022. I want to help her with her anxiety, but nothing seems to work. I know some people go through moments of social disconnection, but this seems too long. How can I get her out of her literal comfort zone?
Yeah, that's
I mean,
tough.
that's 2 years. I mean, technically three, but two
Yeah, that's a long
all in
time.
that she hasn't even left. Like, how do you work? I guess she works at home.
Yeah. Yeah, remotely, I guess. Or
But he
um
didn't say why she's not leaving. Is
well, he
it
said
is it
anxiety.
social anxiety? But I know a lot of folks like I know a lot of people friends with in LA didn't leave their homes for a good year and a year and a half from COVID. So I don't know if there's some anxiety due to that. But
There's definitely a tipping point, though. That seems a long time, and it seems like she may need help with her mental situation for the anxiety to be so crippling that she won't leave the basement for almost 3 years. I think that's too long. I think that's too long. I think anybody would say that. Any rational person would be like, "That's too long to not leave your home,"
of course.
especially health reasons and getting out and about and just getting some fresh air and whatnot. I mean, that's tough. I would probably seek assistance with this one. I mean, that feels like there needs to be a professional pulled in, right? For this one. I mean, you can't like you could, but you can't like chloroform her and drag her out of the house and then she wakes up in a field and be like, got ya. Like that's probably not the right move. Although I'm not gonna take it off the table.
You got to pull a Mr. T on the A team, right? Have him
Yeah,
drink his
yeah.
milk, and it's so funny that we're at a point where like we're here to give advice, but we're like, you know what? We can only take you so far.
Yeah.
It's time to get a professional here. Um,
It's not
but
called Too Cool Therapist.
It's called Two Cool Moms.
I do wonder what the source of social anxiety is. If it is social, is it like COVID? Is it bird flu? Is it
Yeah.
like there's a multitude of reasons people don't leave their homes. So I'd love to know more about that because if it's like, you know, it's like it's also like what you're being filtered, right? Like what are you watching that's keeping you home?
Yeah.
Because I know some people get news from one source, left or
100%.
right, and
Yeah.
that dictates a lot of how they
It might
go about
be
their
trying
lives.
to block a stimulus or something like that. Like I had a couple of friends who like deleted Twitter for a while and whatnot because they felt like there was too much. But that might be actually that's a very very good call there, Stevie's. Very proud of you. That's a good one
Joe,
too.
I can only take you so far, though. As
That's
good
it.
as that is, there are times you got to call in the pros.
Yes, I would say that. So either here's your options, okay? Call a professional, buy
Yeah.
some chloroform, or delete their Twitter. That's pretty much what we've gotten you here.
But I also think it's like you are a good friend to her. There's got to be something she misses, right? Like if you said, "Hey,
Right.
let's go get a deep dish from Pizza Hut and have like a 90s night," I'd be like, "Let's have like let's get
Yeah.
a old-fashioned deep dish pizza." Like the one thing I would leave the house for, what would that be?
Yeah.
Whether it's a concert or a
Concert
meal or
live, yeah, see
something.
something
Yeah.
live, yeah, for sure. Some sort
Joe
of live
Gatto,
entertainment, right? Joe
Joe
Gatto's
Gatto
in town.
live,
Steve
right?
Byrne is in town. I mean, you could go to tickets, punch up
.live.
live, and you can search for Steve Byrne, find out where he is, or go to joegattoofficial.com and see where I'm at. I mean,
Easy
these are all
peasy.
things,
You
I'll tell
make
you
it so
what,
easy.
here's something. If
Yeah.
you get this person to come out to the show, we'll come back, let him come back and say hello in real
There you
life.
go.
There we go. If that's
Yeah.
not tantalizing enough, I don't know
Free
what is.
tickets
Yes. Free
and a little meet
tickets.
and greet.
And you know what? I'll throw in a t-shirt.
Boom.
It says your name on it.
Welcome back to life.
There it is.
Your
Welcome.
name. That's right. All right.
We got time for one more. Let's do one more.
One more. Here we go. Okay. This is coming to us from Maggie. I'm looking at getting professional help for my anxiety, but struggle with telling my mom and her reaction. I need advice from my cool moms on how to approach my real mom. Thank you. Well, I think it's a healthy thing. If you feel that you have anxiety and then you're addressing it with a professional, I don't know a parent in the world that wouldn't be supportive of it.
Yeah.
I would think that that's something that any parent could get behind. I mean, certainly if my child, at 12, but let's say she got a little older and she said, "Hey, I'd like to seek professional help for XYZ." I, of course. What do you need? And I think it's so admirable that that you have something troubling you, and the fact that you want to address it and you're willing to take the right steps. I mean, that's so much better. What a pendulum swing from the other one, right? Of somebody
100%.
who has anxiety but won't address it or won't confront it or won't look for help. You're actually looking for help. So I think, boy, what parent in the world wouldn't be happy for you or supportive?
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes from, it's just having to tell your parents. Why don't you want to tell them, right? Look at that, first of all. Do you feel like you're a disappointment because you're having anxiety? You're not able to handle it yourself, or you're afraid of their reaction? I mean, that's
Right.
all, you're putting that all out there on yourself. You're setting up barriers for no reason. Like, you don't know that's the outcome, right?
Right.
I guarantee, like, there might be a little bit of, oh, why? What's the matter? Why can't I help you? Or some defensiveness as a parent that they might be
Right.
like, what can, and then it's going to immediately dissipate when they realize that it's helping you, because everybody wants their child helped.
Exactly.
So, you just got to get over that first thing. And I would say a lot of it's probably self-inflicting barriers that you're giving yourself. So I would say, get over yourself, check yourself before you wreck yourself. And
Boom.
then on the ones and twos, talk to mom and pops and be like, here's the dealio. And I would use that exact sentence, because the mom and dads want to know the dealio. Yeah, but I think that's a part of it. I think you need to just get fire them up. Here we go. Listen, you say, "Mom, here's the remix." Wicka wicka. I got issues. Okay? I'm dealing with anxieties and I need some help, please. That's what you're going to do. You're going to take it to the mom and the pop. Maybe you'll have it over a deep dish pizza like we talked about earlier. Steve didn't have lunch yet, clearly, because he brought up the deep dish twice.
I did actually. Yeah.
So I would say,
I was thinking of
that.
my treat. Yeah. Well, I wish her all the best, and I don't even think she needs any good luck, because she's doing exactly what you should do. That would be like,
And also, bottom line, if mom or dad or whoever's upset with you about it, that you're taking care of yourself, they could go scratch. And by that, I mean their
yeah,
ass, because you got to take care of yourself. So go ahead and do
yeah,
it. So there's
exactly.
no problem here.
There's no
Go
lose
get it.
lose
Yes, no
here.
lose.
There's
Go
no
get it.
lose.
It's all win.
Yeah.
So good luck to you.
Joseph,
Stevie, we did it.
I'm in
Long
a swivel
distance.
chair. Can you tell me?
I
I'm
love
in a
that swivel chair.
This
You're
is
doing
not
it.
me. This is not me going quad to quad. This is me. I'm not that. I'm no Jean-Claude Van Damme.
I thought you were
This is
stretching
my
out before the next big
swivel
game.
chair.
I thought you were
Yeah.
stretching out before the next big game, buddy.
Yeah. There
Well,
we go.
I love you. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this with us via Zoom. We all love you and appreciate you, pal.
Yeah. Love you, buddy.
All right. So, if you got questions, we got answers. twocoolmomspod@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram @twocoolmoms. And to see Stevie live, you're going to go to,
Punch Up Live.
yep. And to see me live, you're going to go joegattoofficial.com. All right, guys.
Right.
Love you.
Love you guys.
That's great.
These mommies love you, so show us some love.
Please rate us and review us. Follow us on all social media and subscribe to our YouTube.